Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you to Joe's Outdoor Places. It's a channel I started to share different things outdoors with people that I basically watch their channel and like to share back, things that I learn, things that I do. Basically camping, but I'll also do maybe some gear reviews and some fire making demonstrations. Just something to do. That's what YouTube is for me. I'm retired. It's just fun to make these videos, whether they are watched by a lot of people or not. I just like making them. They're fun. But anyway, this is my fire kit. One of the first things that I did when I was getting back into camping was put together a kit with everything you need to build a fire. And everything here is probably recognizable to y'all. This is not a tutorial or an instructional type video. It's just show you what I've got in my fire kit. It starts out with a pouch. It's a waxed leather, heavy waxed leather with a strong brass zipper. Probably will last for a couple of generations. This one I bought from Cold Cracker Bushcraft. They're proud to say it's made in the USA, and I'm proud it is made in the USA. Everything that we buy should be, but unfortunately it's not. Anyway, it all fits in here, and I've got room to spare. So in the comments, if you have any suggestions, it is an evolution. I do have room I could add, take away. Feel free to suggest. I'll start out with describing the knife. It's a buck. It's lightweight, don't take up a whole lot of room. I carry a pocket knife. I carry a knife on my belt when I'm camping, hunting, fishing, whatever. But I want this to be kind of a standalone kit that I could grab. And the addition of a knife makes it standalone. You can process wood, craft a bow drill set or a hand drill set, whatever. The knife makes it standalone. Bic lighter, of course, a lot of people use them. 100% dependable. You could even make a fire when they're empty using the little mini ferro rod that's actually what they call the flint in these lighters. It's wrapped with duct tape. Duct tape has many uses, but in fire it's shredded up and used as a tinder bundle. It can be lit with a ferro rod. And of course, you have the ferro rod here. Everybody knows what they are and how to use them. It's just a part of the kit that you could go to when you want to. I mean, making fire is, you could almost call it a hobby. So, you may want to start a fire one way one day another, just keep things interesting. This is a Fresnel lens. It's a flat magnifier. I don't know if how that focusing that beam of light is in the camera, but it does the same thing with the sun's rays, like a magnifying glass. And if you have a sunny day and you could use that, you don't use up any of your other resources. It's probably the two main things here to make fire. On the market today, I've noticed a lot of commercial fire starters. I can't think of a single one of them now, but you know what I'm talking about. They're little cotton tampon looking things, pads soaked in some type of accelerant. Just hundreds of them out there. I say hundreds, maybe dozens, but nothing really takes the place of this thing right here. Piece of good old pine, fat wood, been around for forever. This one is just a piece that came off of a big old chunk a friend gave me. He said it'd been in his yard for 20 years, and that's proof that this stuff don't dry out or the accelerants don't vapor out. They last for years. 200 years from now, that chunk will probably still be able to make a fire. So this is my fire starter of choice. You could scrape it, make feathers out of it, baton it out into small pieces, and make a fire with wet wood if necessary. All right, that's the mainstay of my kit. But then sometimes you want to go further into the, I guess you say, the hobby of fire making, and with that, it would be your more primitive ways of making fire. And it fluctuates with me, or changes from time to time. Right now, I kind of like flint and steel, and using char cloth and natural char made from punk wood, which I like. Personally, I like that the best, but it's just a fun way sometimes to start a fire. Like I say, it's kind of a hobby to get into fire making. Some days you may not feel like doing anything but striking a bick, but on other days you got that. You also got a bow drill here showing a set. That's not part of the kit. I'm just showing you that's what I do sometimes. Part of the kit also, along with the flint and steel, is the cordage, number 36 bank line. I use that as the line on the bow. You could also use this jute. It would work fine, but this is in the kit primarily as tinder. These are all 10 feet. They could be used as cordage anywhere, but basically their uses within the fire kit, making fire in this instance. This is a paracord. It's pretty interesting. I can't think of the company that makes it now, but inside of it you have a copper wire that could be used for snares, which I have no experience in yet. There's a 15-pound monofilament for fishing. I guess you could sew with it, repair with it. And also for the fire, it's a jute, piece of waxed jute that could be used as tinder. So that's why this paracord is in the fire kit. Now, when you talk about ferro rod, flint and steel, and bow drill, this steel here has a triple use. It's made by Essie. It can scrape your fire steel. It could be the steel in flint and steel, but also it has a divot here, and I use this as kind of an insulator because it can get hot, but that divot allows it to be used as a bearing block. So it's a multi-use tool. My favorite right now for that, all those purposes. And I keep a piece of leather in my kit as a ember catch. Sometimes the ground is wet. If you don't have a dry place to produce the ember, well, you won't have an ember. Same is true of this. It's just a bandana used to place on the ground to get your stuff off the wet ground, and it could also be used to make char cloth, as this is 100% cotton. That's my kit. There's things missing, of course. I could have matches, I guess, but just don't have any interest in them right now. I haven't found one that I really like, to be honest with you. As a bonus, I'll show you something. You might say after this, Joe, get a life. But I play around, like I said, with fire. It's kind of a hobby now. Wanted to show you the lighter pine. This was scraped, makes like a sawdust. It's easily ignited with the ferro rod. Then you can make the feathers with it, of course, a little coarser like this material that you add, once this is burning, you put the feathers. Building a fire, of course, is small to large until you're burning, you know, bigger pieces of fuel. This would be your tinder, kindling, fuel, as far as size goes. I've batoned out some kindling. This was once my practice bow, and until I made this one, I used it. It was a little heavy. Anyway, I sacrificed it to play around making feathers and kindling. These are feather sticks. Instead of removing the feathers as you make them, you could leave them attached to the stick, and they call this a fire stick. Everybody knows that. I'm still practicing. I've seen people make some of the most beautiful fire sticks, and you don't have to know how to do this. It's just something to do, and everybody knows when you're out camping, sometimes you are bored, so why not practice a skill? And making these fire sticks is like whittling. People used to sit around, just whittle wood, carve out little things, and it's basically what that is. This was made with some tulip poplar. I went to Tennessee on vacation, was able to get some tulip poplar. We have it here in Louisiana. It's just, you know, hard to find. But I like it. It's straight grain, has a few knots, and with a little practice, you can make beautiful, beautiful feather sticks with tulip poplar. I'm working with Chinese tallow here in Louisiana. I'm finding that it's just like this for making feathers and feather sticks. The only thing is the bark isn't as fibrous as tulip poplar, and I don't think you could make a tinder bundle out of the bark of a Chinese tallow. If you have tulip poplar in your area and pieces are laying on the ground, you're very lucky, because it is one of the best tinder bundles you can make for primitive fire. Anyway, that's it. Hope I didn't bore you to death. I love looking at fire kit videos. I've seen dozens of them. I learn from them. Just now sharing back some of the things that I've learned from y'all, and maybe you could learn something, or maybe you could look at this and say, hey, Joe, you're doing it wrong, and offer a suggestion or two. Anyway, I want to thank you for watching and supporting my channel. Like I say, I have fun making these. I enjoy making them, and I hope to provide some more for y'all. Hopefully the next one will be a camping video. With that, I'll say thank you again, and I'll talk to y'all later.